Hmm? Now so I want to test my the capacitor now outside the board. So let's check if there is short on the capacitor. We are going to know because it's the only capacitor that is warming up when the voltage was injected. So now you can see I'm having 000 on my multimeter, which means this capacitor is shorting. It's not good. So let me now test the line of the coil I removed the other time. Hmm? Oh, so now let's check the first side. This is the first side. My multimeter remain 1. So that means there's no short at that side. What about the second side? The same thing. I'm having 1.7. So that means this line is now free of short. Now let's try. Who is there? Yeah, pause. The next thing now is just to let's remove, because okay, let's test whether they are still short. Now let's on the now you can see the DC. You can see the DC now. The voltage is remain constant, while the arms still remain at 0.00, which means the board is free of shorts. Now let's go. The next thing now is just let's remove this the cable. I mean the DC wire from the board. So after that, we are going to replace this thing back. So we are going to replace. Let's replace the coil back. Let's replace the coil. Let's put it back onto the board. So the next thing I will do to fix the coil back. This is too much on the board. So now I'm replacing it back. Now let's now I've replaced the coil back. Now let me check the impedance of that coil. You know, at the initial stage, when I test it, so one side, both side was shorting. Now see the multimeter. So now I'm having 1.9. So the second line, the second line is giving me 1. See the same thing. That means no short. If I'm having short, I'm going to have a 0.00. So with this impression, the board is free of short now. So before we proceed with the look of things, let's check. Let's now put it back into the casing and test it with the screen, and let's see what is going to happen. Gosh. Yes. Now I've inside the board, then the battery is also there. I've inserted it back. So now let's test it. Let's test. And mind you, I supposed to I forgot something. So the thing is that you can see I removed two things. The first thing is the the coil. So and the second thing is the capacitor. So after testing the capacitor outside the board, I discovered that the capacitor is shorting. That's why I didn't replace it back. So now the next thing for me is just to replace the capacitor. But you can decide not to replace it. Only because the capacitor is a non-polarized capacitor. If it is only polarized capacitor, you can't do without replacing it. But if it is non-polarized, that means you can, because it's just a filter. It's just filtering the the noise at that side. So if you don't replace it, your board will still work. If only there's no any short on the board again. And we have tested it out. We've tested the impedance, everything is free of short. Now let's test it out now. This is my charger. So now let's go. with this light, without even power the board, with this light, this is an impression that the board is now charging, because the other time the board it doesn't have this light whenever we insert the charger. Now let's power the board and let's see what is going to display on the screen. Now we power it, the board has powered. Now let's go. You can see there that information has left already. So the information has left. Now let's check the setup. Let's check the setup. Let's go to setup. So I've inserted the external keyboard. So let me restart the system. Okay, let me off it and power it again. So I'll power it again. I want to enter the setup now. So and see what is going to display at the now. Let's go advanced. The battery. Can you see the battery health? The information has changed automatically. This battery is performing normally. This is the normal information that the board supposed to display. Now let me power the board. Let me off my charger. So I've off my charger. The board is still working. Now let me power it off and power it with the battery now. So let me power the battery. Now imagine the board is now powering with the battery. Just the case of the board is just is this is the only the small capacitor that is disturbing the whole board from charging, from powering from the battery. So my fellow engineers, thank you for watching the video. Please try to subscribe and like, and always and also try to share. Thank you.